Standing on a rooftop in Clifton, 1970, looking out over the Arabian Sea. Below you, the streets are humming, neon signs, open-air cafes, jazz bands playing in hotel lobbies. They call this place the City of Lights. Now, fast forward 50 years, same rooftop, but tonight, the horizon is black. The generators are roaring because the grid has failed again. And across the ocean, a few hundred miles away, the lights that used to be here seem to be shining there, in Dubai.
Today, we're talking about a tale of two cities, one that gave away its spark and one that built an empire on it. We're looking at the haunting relationship between Karachi and Dubai.
This is a heavy one, Jake. It's not just an economic comparison, it's a ghost story. We're exploring a very specific sentiment that Karachi didn't just lose its light, it feels like that light was siphoned off, packaged, and shipped across the Gulf.
And we're basing this on a really poetic, painful reflection we received. It asks, "O City of Lights, tell me, who pushed you into darkness? Who snatched your lights and took them to Dubai?" It describes people now running madly toward the UAE to beg for a little bit of that light back.
It's a devastating image. The idea that you have to travel to a foreign land to bask in the prosperity that arguably started in your own backyard. So let's start with the City of Lights claim, because I think for a lot of people under 30, that sounds like a myth. Was Karachi really that vibrant?
It's absolutely not a myth. If you go back to the 1960s and 70s, Karachi was the aviation and business hub of South Asia. It was often called the Paris of the East. You had a nightlife that rivaled Beirut or Cairo. The streets were washed every night. The nightclubs were full. It was safe. People walked on the beaches at midnight.
And at that time, Dubai was
a quiet trading port. It was pearl diving and fishing. It had potential, sure, but it wasn't a global metropolis. And this is where the theft metaphor from our listener gets really literal, because the rise of Dubai is historically and inextricably linked to the expertise of Karachi.
This is the part that always blows my mind, the airline connection.
Right, so think about Emirates Airlines. Today it's a symbol of Dubai's massive global reach. But in 1985, when the Dubai government wanted to launch an airline, they didn't have the fleet or the technical know-how yet. Who did they call? They called Pakistan International Airlines, PIA.
PIA, which is currently struggling to stay afloat, actually birthed Emirates?
They didn't just birth it, they handheld it. PIA leased the first two aircraft to Emirates, an Airbus 300 and a Boeing 737. They provided the training for the first cabin crews. They provided the technical and engineering support. The first flight Emirates ever made from Dubai to Karachi was piloted by a Pakistani captain. So when that listener asks, who took your lights to Dubai? In the aviation sector, the answer is, Karachi gave them the match to light the fire.
That is deeply ironic. You have PIA, which was this gold standard in Asia. I mean, they were teaching other nations how to fly. And now, if you look at the rankings, the roles are completely reversed. Emirates is a luxury giant, and PIA is fighting for survival. It feels like a transfer of competence.
It's a transfer of competence, but also a transfer of capital. And that brings us to the darkness our listener mentioned. The 1980s in Karachi saw the beginning of severe ethnic conflict, political instability, and infrastructure neglect. As Karachi became dangerous, what locals call the halat or situation getting bad, wealthy businessmen didn't just hide their money under the mattress. They moved it.
They moved it to Dubai.
Exactly. Dubai became the safe haven. It was close, it was stable, and it welcomed foreign investment with open arms. So as the lights literally started going out in Karachi due to grid mismanagement, the financial light, the investment capital, fled to the UAE. Real estate in Dubai boomed, often funded by Pakistani wealth that could no longer find a safe home in Karachi.
Let's talk about the literal darkness, though, because the prompt mentions a thick sheet of darkness where you can't see anything. That's not just a metaphor for depression, that's a reality for millions of people there right now, isn't it?
It is. We're talking about load shedding, scheduled power outages that can last 12 to 14 hours a day in some neighborhoods. The infrastructure, managed by K Electric, just hasn't kept up with the population explosion. You have a city of 20 million people, and in the heat of summer, the fans stop spinning. The water pumps stop working because there's no electricity to run them. That is a visceral, physical darkness that wears people down.
And the contrast, I mean, if you're a young guy in Karachi sitting in the dark, sweating, checking Instagram on your dying battery, and you see your cousin posting a selfie in front of the Burj Khalifa all lit up like a Christmas tree, that has to sting.
It stings, but it also creates a compulsion, and this is the second half of the user's prompt. Who runs madly towards Dubai to get those same lights? This is the brain drain. We are seeing a historic exodus right now. In 2023 alone, over 800,000 Pakistanis left the country for work. A huge chunk of those went to the UAE.
800,000 in 1 year? That's like the entire population of San Francisco just packing up and leaving.
It is, and these aren't just laborers, though they are the backbone of the UAE's construction. We're talking about doctors, engineers, bankers, IT professionals, the cream of the city. They are leaving Karachi because they feel the city can no longer give them a future. They go to Dubai, often working jobs below their qualification level, just to send money back home.
The prompt uses this phrase, begging and bowing, to get a little bit of light back for their children. That's the remittance economy, right?
Precisely. That little bit of light is the dirham. They work in the gleaming towers of Dubai and they send the money back to Karachi so their families can buy a generator or a UPS battery or solar panels. They are literally buying back the light from abroad because the state failed to provide it at home.
That is incredibly tragic. It's a closed loop. You export your talent to build another city, and that talent pays to keep the lights on in the city they left.
And there's a humiliation in it that the text captures perfectly. Minnat Samajat Karna, begging and pleading, the visa process, the scrutiny, the fear of deportation. Karachiites who belong to a city that should be an economic engine often feel like second-class citizens when they have to knock on Dubai's door.
I want to play devil's advocate for a second, though. Is it fair to blame Dubai? Or is Dubai just doing what a smart city does, capitalizing on the failures of its neighbors?
That's the nuance. Dubai didn't steal the light at gunpoint. Karachi, or rather, the governance of Karachi, left the door unlocked and the lights flickering. Political corruption, the breakdown of law and order in the 90s, the lack of urban planning, these were self-inflicted wounds. Dubai just offered an alternative.
It's like Dubai became the offshore Karachi, the Karachi that could have been.
In many ways, yes. If you walk around certain neighborhoods in Dubai, you hear Urdu everywhere. You see the same restaurant chains that started in Karachi, Student Biryani, Barbecue Tonight. They have branches in Dubai that are sometimes managed better than the ones back home. It's a mirror image, but polished and sanitized.
So the City of Lights didn't disappear, it just moved.
It displaced itself, but the tragedy, as the poem says, is for the city left behind. Because a city isn't just businesses, it's the soul, the history, the architecture. You can't move the sea breeze of Clifton to the desert. You can't move this specific chaotic energy of Empress Market. That stays in the dark, waiting for its people to return.
The text ends on a very bleak note. It says, such a thick sheet of darkness has been stretched over you that despite the day and night passing, you can't see anything. Is there any hope in that, or is it a eulogy?
It feels like a eulogy for a specific era, but I don't think it's a eulogy for Karachi itself. Karachi is resilient to a fault. People say Karachi never sleeps, not because of the nightlife anymore, but because of the struggle. But that darkness, it's psychological now. It's the inability to see a future where Karachi catches up to Dubai.
And the irony is, to catch up, it needs the very people who are currently standing in line at the passport office to leave.
Exactly. You need the light to build the light. And right now, the current flows only one way, west, across the Arabian Sea.
It creates this phantom limb sensation. The people in Dubai miss the soul of Karachi, and the people in Karachi miss the functionality of Dubai, and neither is whole.
And until Karachi can offer safety and stability, the basics, that thick sheet of darkness isn't lifting. It's just being punctured by the occasional flashlight sent from overseas.
Rachel, this has been a sobering look at how cities rise and fall and how they are connected. It's not just economics, it's about where a society decides to place its hope. Thank you for breaking this down. And to you listening, if this story of lost lights and displaced cities resonated with you, send this episode to a friend who understands what it means to leave home to save it.